Very good. So hello, everyone. I'm very, very happy to see you all here and very happy to have Ieva with us. Before I present Ieva and before I give her the word and the floor and all the um,
fame and fortune.
Yes, exactly. I just want to, because I know some of you sometimes leave a couple of minutes before, before we end. We have a super extra session next Tuesday, June 1, and LIA, which is Latvian Development and Investment Agency, they have agreed to enlighten us about all the possibilities that are here in Latvia, in kind of like in with their support, in accordance with them. So we have announced that on our social media as well. But just so that's like an extra special session outside of our regular lectures. So you're all more than welcome. The same time, it's also Tuesday, the same link and everything. But I really do hope that you take advantage of that and join us next Tuesday and as well next Thursday when it's our like a regular session. With that being said, I'm super, super happy to have Ieva with us. We will hear all about public relations and communication today. Ieva is an expert on that. She's a host of different podcasts. She's an expert in everything that comes to startups and all these like interrelations between companies and clients, etc. So I'm very happy to have you here, Ieva, and the floor is yours.
Thank you for a great introduction, and it is a real pleasure to see you all here. And it's good that we don't have many Latvian people in the team, I believe, because like everyone is watching hockey right now. So yeah, it is a big thing here. So yes, and if something goes wrong with me, I just got the second jab of my vaccine, so sorry if something happens, but that's really just a joke, and I'm really super happy to have it. So okay, but now I'm very happy to spend the next hour talking about the topic that is really close to my heart. It's communication and public relations, and I'm really grateful to all of you that you are here and would like to find out more, because you know, everyone knows how to communicate, and everyone knows how to do PR, and everyone knows how to talk with the media, and it is usually up until the moment when they really have to do it. And what I see in even in the communication of big companies, of course there are a lot of good examples, and really well remarkable communication in also in tough times, in crisis, etc. But actually there are also a lot of things to improve for a lot of companies, and it is super important for small companies, because if you are considering to do this, to do your company, then at one point you have to communicate with your clients, with the society, and actually you are well if you are thinking of spending your money or investors' money, then of course the communication won't be the priority before you are getting some revenues. So it is very important to understand how to do it right and not to be afraid to do it, to experiment. And I will try. Well, this is a big challenge to put this broad topic in a 1 hour presentation, but I will try to do my best to give some things, the most important things for you to consider when you are starting communication for your company. Just to remember those things and pay attention to them. But okay, what? So do you see the slide with me? Yeah. Okay. So what actually gives me authority to talk about it? my first education bachelor's degree is in journalism, and I have worked a bit also in this field as a news reporter, and for a couple of years doing some things in there. But I was kind of looking for a bit broader perspective of all this communication field, and that is why I started to study marketing, and went for my master's degree in communication, and it is from the University of Tallinn in Estonia. And then I started to work as head of marketing department in one company quite big that operates in all three Baltic countries, and I was responsible for marketing in Latvia. So I experienced marketing at its best, and well, get a really good insights on how it operates. But still, somehow I wasn't happy with that, and then I decided to leave the company and do what I initially started to do. And actually, I went back to my roots and started to do content, and started to do content. And then clients started to ask me about public relations, and then I started to do that, and also did some courses and stuff. And now I am doing it for 5 years already, focusing. Of course, sometimes it's currently it is super well. It is currently overlapping. The communication, marketing, advertising, everything is mixed together, because, for example, to do good text for adverts, you have to know how to create text. So everything is mixed together, and it's good that you have a good mix of knowledge when you are working in this field. And currently I'm doing content with my colleagues together for Labs of Latvia, and I'm doing podcast Baltic Startup Mafia, and the latest episode is was out yesterday, so you can check it on whatever platform you are using for podcasts. And yes, and also I'm consulting different clients, more those that are working in technology field, but still there are also a lot of other companies, and I'm doing content and consulting them about communication. And of course, well, I don't want just to talk here. I want to also hear your opinion, and as we have as we not have so many time to put you in breakout rooms and discuss things, then I decided to use Mentimeter. And what you have to do now is you have to go whatever device you are using, is it laptop or just phone, you have to go to menti.com and use the code. This is what is written here. Do you see it?
Yeah,
and there, yeah,
maybe you can drop it in the chat as well, because if I don't know if that's easy for you. Yeah, because you can copy, and then we can copy from there. So
and there you will have to write this. Yeah. And then you will have to write this code, and then you will see the screen with an options. And what I would like you to do is just drop some terms that you are. Voting is closed. Okay. Do you, Mara? Do you see? Just a sec. Okay, do you see something? What appears when you enter menti.com?
It seems to work.
It's good now.
How it works. Now it works.
Ah, now it works. Okay.
Like a small questionnaire.
Yeah, yeah. And you have to write those words in there. Oh, okay. I'm starting to get answers. So great. Great. Let's wait a bit and then let's see what you have in mind about the communication. Because I will start my story with explaining the communication. What is behind that? Because well. At least I think that we should all understand, we should all be on the same page before talking about the content, because it is important to understand all the parts of this communication concept, at least the most important parts, and then it gives us a kind of roadmap of things that we have to focus on while planning how we are how we are going to communicate. Okay, so not okay, we can start to think or yeah, we can. It's 8 people have given their opinion, and thank you for that. Well, it's interesting that yeah, this it seems that the biggest portion of you said that it is communication is about sharing. Well, it really is, and then well, basically that's the aim of the communication, for the content to be shared as much as possible. And but we will talk more on how to get to this content that is shareable. Ideas is also one good point, because ideas is usually very challenging. When you start to plan what you are going to communicate about, you have a lot of ideas. Then you start to put them in the schedule, and then you see that, okay, you have a plan for 1 month, and what's next? And yeah, this is a very, very important thing to consider. Miscommunication, clear. Yeah, miscommunication is currently also very, oh, somebody else dropped their ideas. Thank you. Emails, ideas, yeah, emails as one of the main tools of the communication. Speaking, talking, writing, understanding, persuasion. Okay, good. So basically, yes, you are. Well, one person is writing this word message, and yes, this is basically what everything starts with, and all those things that you have mentioned later, it comes next. So let's move back to the presentation, and here will be a bit of a theory, but I will try not to bore you too much with that. But still, what is the communication if we look at it historically and in a historical perspective? And well, the first man who really defined what is communication was Aristotle, and in those times he was living. They were talking more about public speaking. So basically, he defined four pieces of the communication. So there was a speaker, who's actually the content generator, and well, if we are talking with the nowadays terms, then there was a speech, usually with aim to persuade and to impact, to make an impact, and to get to invite for some action. Then there was the audience who was listening to the speech, and then there was a particular effect. And later, it was already in 1940s when two interestingly mathematician and physician, Shannon and Weaver, they put together model of communication that basically is used nowadays as the basis of communication when we are trying to explain what it really is. So it starts with the sender, that is an information source, and it is then encoded via transmitter. Then there is a channel, there could be some noise, and then there is a reception, and then there is a receiver. And there are two, well, basically there are two parts where the message appears. It is between when the sender prepares it and when the receiver, and before the receiver receives it. And then the sender gets usually feedback from the receiver. This is how this all look like. So if we are talking about nowadays, what's happening now, then let's discuss what all those what in nowadays we understand with all those terms. And I just want to mention that if you have some questions, please interrupt me and ask me questions. Raise your hands. Because it would be great if I can answer your questions, because that's basically I think the most important part. So basically, who is the sender during nowadays whatever communication channels we use? Basically, there are individual authors. They are like you, me. We are writing on Facebook. We are putting there our pictures on Instagram, and we are individual authors. There are companies and organizations that want to share their message, and then the third part is journalists. They are quite different category because they have really strong ethical principles they follow. And yeah, it's a bit different for them, but basically those three categories, I would say, that are the biggest sources of the information. And then for every source of the information, the message looks a bit different. So if we are talking in our social media profile, then we are basically sharing our opinion, attitude, and values. If companies and organizations share their information, then they are thinking about what is important to them, what they want to tell to the world. But the biggest problem in this communication is that they very often forget that there is a customer, and not everything company wants to tell about themselves is interesting to the customer. So basically, to be successful for the company, in the company communication, you have to think of what those guys really want to hear, and that's the most important thing. And regarding journalists, of course, they are focusing more on the industry. They are writing, for example, technology journalists. They are more focused on technologies, and usually they are sharing their views on that via social media. And also their word, of course, is in front of the news stories or features or articles they are writing about. And this is what the information they are creating. And what does the message look like? Well, it depends on the channel, but basically it can be everything you can imagine: text, picture, video, infographic, audio, like a podcast. So everything can be created by every player of this communication field. Channel is social media platform. It is one-on-one meetings, events, well, pre-COVID times, mass media, email, web page, blog, well, anything that transmits your content, your message is channel. And then who is the receiver of those messages? In case of individual authors, this is your friends and followers. In case of companies and organizations, it is their clients, shareholders and followers. And in case of journalists, it is audience of the media. And why it is important to understand it? Because if you it is super important for the company to get attention from their clients, and like not everybody, because usually companies have defined what their clients are. And for example, if you are writing something on your wall on Facebook, it's really good that you are sharing company news. But actually, of course, there is one part there for your friends that will support you. But actually, not all of your friends might be customers of your product or your service. So it is important to understand that basically for the company, the main goal is to reach their customer. And it is also in the case of, it is also important to keep it in mind when we talk about journalists and their role. You have to understand that journalists are doing content and media is doing content for their customers. So you have to find the outlet or the media that has the closest audience that you have, that your company has, that your product has, and only then you can talk about overlapping of this audience and reaching this audience with your message. And this is important to understand when you are planning your communication, the difference between that. And so how this communication for the company organization look like? So there basically is this organization that creates a message. It is spread through individual authors, it is spread through journalists, and it is spread in their own communication channels. And basically, they, as already mentioned, they get audience that follows their channels, and they get audience of those individual authors and journalists. What is important in case of organization, and what you already also mentioned, this when you are thinking of communication, this sharing is important, and it is and also social media channels, they evaluate this sharing moment as they give the highest value to the information that is shared. So whenever you are working for your organization or your product, it is super important that everyone shares this. For example, if you have company with 2 or 10 or 20 employees, then it is important that everybody shares this message. And of course, it also gives the sign to public that like you are really passionate about what you are doing, and you are really on the same page, everyone in the company, and you are really supporting the message you are going out with to the general public. So sharing is really really important, and creates a lot of benefits. And why do organizations need communication? Well, basically, I would say that there are three levels what the organization can reach with the communication. The first thing is image. When you have created some product or service, then at some point you understand that you have to bring this message out, and this is how you create an image. This is how you let everyone know that, hey, we have something, and you can check it out. And then some time goes by, you are doing your communication, and you have reached a point when you have a reputation. it means that the person who is considering to buy products or services in your industry, they are considering you as one of the possible companies that they would like to buy those products or services from. And this means that you are on top of mind of the customer. And then there is authority. Well, basically every company wants to reach this level. They want to be, it means that there are, your company reached the status of being a leader of the industry, that you already can dictate some rules, and everybody is watching at you, what you are going to do. And it means that you have already some authority. Okay, do you have any questions about the communication? Because now we will dive into public relations.
You can speak up, you can write in the chat as well for Ieva to see.
Yeah, I'm not following chat.
There,
okay, yeah.
Yeah, but.
Okay, so if there are no questions, then let's move back to Mentimeter because I have a question to you that is a bit more probably difficult. What do you understand, or how would you describe public relations? Also, there is opportunity for you to answer in 3 words. I will check whether it is, well, it should be open. So I guess some 3 minutes and you can write down your ideas.
We have also Graciela writing in the chat, and she says public relations is the way that you have to create connections with the consumers and others.
Okay, thank you for your opinions. Yeah, the central topic seems to be image. Yes, this is really important. This is really good tool how you can create an image with communication. And yeah, marketing, as I said in the beginning, that all those disciplines are so close to each other that we should look at as a part of marketing. Definitely relationships, external communications, also internal communications is and the stories. Again, emails. Yeah, somebody loves emails. Great, positive association. Yeah, that's we are aiming at. But let's take a look at, well, I could give you some definitions, but this is, but I would like to share with you what people in the public that are working in the public relations industry think of themselves. And there is one interesting survey done in 2019 where 223 communications and public relations professionals took part. And I have added this results of this survey to the reading list at the end of the. I will send you the presentation so you can dig deeper. But what was the most I found most interesting simple explanations of what the public relations is and what those people in this field, what they are really doing. Like, those funny stories, what my parents think I'm doing and what I'm doing and what my friends think I'm doing. So making companies and executives look smart, explain complicated things as simply as possible. And that's basically one of the main benefits. If you can do that for your company, then it is super cool, especially for the complicated products. It is really, really, really important. I say that it is my job to discover stories and try to convince journalists to cover them for their outlets. That's definitely one part of the job that you have to work with the journalists. I work to tell the story of my company to as many people as possible. I'm paid to keep and reveal secrets to employees, the public, and the media at the appropriate time. Actually, this is my favorite. But this is how it is, really. For example, when you have to, when you know that there will be something really big, then you are sometimes you and the boss and somebody else, probably some shareholders, that you are the only ones who knows that, and you have to keep quiet and you have to prepare the press release, and that it's going to be big and you are keeping the secret, and then it boom, and then it just flashes out of your email to the other emails. And and this last one, when you see our organization or issue mentioned in news, someone I work with has likely helped get the organization or issue there. It is also true, and I will tell a bit more about these relationships with the media. That it is really a marathon and not a sprint. It is hard, and it is about long-term relationships. So if you ask me what I think is public relations, then I would say that it is about maintaining. This is the key word. It is about maintaining relationships with customers and maintaining public image. So basically, everything that you wrote about this creating an image and creating relationships, it is everything that it is all about public relations. And if we look at the basically, I wanted to show you how it all looks, and in terms of the whole marketing process in the company. So basically, the main advantage of PR is that you are getting a message out to a big public. If you are using social media, of course, well, you get those who like your page, you get attention from them. You have, I will briefly, I will explain shortly what is earned, owned, and paid media. But still, you are getting this message out, and you have attention, and it might generate leads. Those people that are interested, and they hear something about your company, and then they go to your website, your blog, whatever else, YouTube channel, something that really is about your company, and they somehow engage with the content. They are looking for more information. And then, then they can leave and forget about you. But then at some point, they might remember you, and it means that they are doing follow-up, but you also can do follow-up because of all the retargeting options that more fits to the marketing department, but still you can take part in this customer journey enjoying this, in making this customer journey. So you can also follow up, come back to your customer, and then at the end of this funnel is sales, and this is and the best outcome is these advocates of that if people are happy with the purchase, with your service, with your product, they become advocates of your product, and they are repurchasing. They are suggesting their friends, family to use your product, service, or buy it. And this is really, of course, it is an outcome of the whole team, because well, it is about good product, good service. There are really a lot of small puzzle pieces that stick together. But basically, it all starts with this massive information out, ends with the sales, and then this. If the person purchases something repeatedly, then it is like a wow moment for the company. It is what everyone is aiming for. And basically, why it is so, because it is hard to you have to invest the biggest amount of money to get attention from the customer. And if you have attention of the customer and he's positive about your product, your service, then then you have to invest just a bit of the money to get him back, but you will have to pay a lot more to get new customers' attention. That's why those repurchases and those clients that are coming back are so important. Then I already mentioned this earned, owned, paid media. I'm not going deep into that, but there is a very good model called Peso Model that describes what media do we actually have and do we talk about. And I will share it with you. You can then dig deeper into it and see what is what. But basically, there are 4 parts, and it is paid media that basically is advertising, and you pay a certain amount of money and you get published there. There is earned media. This is those media outlets that are the most valuable, I would say. This is relations with journalists. It is your publication on the daily newspaper's front page. This is what you get with the really tough work. Then there is shared media. That's basically everything about social media channels. And then owned media. This is what you create on your own. You decide to have a website. You decide to have Facebook page, YouTube channel. Well, basically it refers to all the media that you control content in. And now, okay, so you are about to start, hopefully, your companies, or at some point in your life, you will consider that. And I would like to know, again, you have to go back to Mentimeter, and I would like to know what, at what point, okay. Yeah. So how to understand when your company needs public relations? I have put the countdown here. It is 30 seconds, but it is when you have an idea, or when you have a company established already, when you are testing the product or service, when the product is ready to be delivered, or when you have a content. What is this, you think? I think I will have to. Okay, we have 6 votes. All answers are correct. Do I have to retake this survey? Probably 30 minutes. No, 30 seconds was a bit. Or probably you can, if somebody has an opinion, you can drop it in the chat. I will read it then. But yeah, it is, well, there is no right answer to this question. But basically, what I would like to emphasize is that, well, the most of you voted that it is when you have an idea. Well, basically, we all are having, we all have ideas, and I would say that when you have to think of public relations when you have already something more than an idea, because you don't know how it will turn out. It doesn't mean that you really need a company already, but still you need something that you are ready to offer. And even if it is in a test phase, but this third phase, when you are testing the product or service, it is really, really important that you test it first and then send out information to the public. And when the product is ready to be delivered, it might be a bit late, because well, we see that well, basically there are 2 points of this story. Of course, it is good that you have product, because you can make a promise to your customer that and you can deliver it. But we can see that there are a lot of interesting stories about different platforms that you can collect money for your new idea and your new product, and then you already have to spread a word even when you do not have that product ready yet. But the most important thing I want you to remember is that if the customer comes to your website or Facebook page and with the real excitement to get something, and there won't be anything to get, and he most likely won't come back. So I would say that public relations is about being responsible for your client, and really to understand that yeah, you have to offer him already something, and for him to be interested to go somehow communicate with you, leave their email address or do something. Of course, there are a lot of interesting strategies out there when there's, for example, some time ago there were email program that promised that, or we can talk about Clubhouse. It was also well, very good example that like there were some product and everybody was talking about that, but what it was, and you can get only there through the invitation. So basically the content was there, but it was exclusive, and this exclusivity was used also by one example. I remember that there is a new kind of luxury product, and we know that it will be, I don't know, some bed or some furniture, for example, very luxury, or the phone, and then there's a message out there that it will be, and well, they are already starting to create the content. So it is, of course, there are a lot of different examples, but you really should consider what are you going to do with the customer when you will get him. So when you have to, well, this is more, now there will be a practical part. So basically where to start from. Okay, you have a product or company or idea or whatever you have, and you understand that you are at the point that you need communication. So what you should remember is that communication strategy supports main message of the company. So this is communication is based on your brand's promise. It is based on what you are offering to your clients, and you have to base your communication messages on those things that you consider to be the most important for as your competitive advantage, for example, and you have to base those messages on these things. And what is very important, that you formulate messages and define the target audience whom these messages will be interesting. so, and again, I would like to emphasize that this is about target audience interest in your product, and not your not your interest in telling them the story. Of course, it's very interesting, very good if you can tell the story, but really the first thing is to meet with the consumer pain point and to really communicate that your product or your service can solve his problem. And that's always the really most important part. We'll just there is a comment. I think when you do the public relations, it's like when you raise kids, you have to be clear. And if you make a promise or offer something, you have to do it or give it. Is all about trust. Yes, exactly. You cannot promise something that you cannot give, because if you do that, you will lose the customer. Well, then I'm not sure we have 10 minutes left. Well, I think I will just go through. What I want you to give practical tips when you are when you are facing this challenge of this challenge of communication and public relations. What you have to really understand is that you will have to do the content, or somebody will have to do that for the communication, and then also for public relations. Those ideas will have to be created by somebody, and you really have to think who this person will be. And this is the problem inside small companies, that the CEO or CTO or CFO or whatever person is they have to deal with all the challenges company has, and communication is not actually the priority for a lot of companies. So really think of how you are going to organize before you start, because creating those social media channels, creating profile for your Twitter, for your LinkedIn, for Facebook, for YouTube, it is not complicated, but the most complicated part is to fill it with the content. And if you will have a social media channel where is a publication, last publication in January of 2018, then why you did that, why you created that, you will with every new channel there this effort that you will have to put in this content creation and to improve your communication channel, it just raises, and then it is you cannot communicate in all channels identically, because there are certain types of communication. For example, in Instagram, you have to do beautiful pictures. In YouTube, you have to do videos, and somebody has to do that and do it regularly. And somehow you have to generate those ideas, what is going to be. So when you are considering that, you have to really think of who is going to do what. Of course, owned media is the first thing I would consider when I think of starting a communication. For example, your website, your blog. This is your territory, and you can experiment there more than experimenting, for example, with media. And well, this is there. You will, if something goes wrong, you can always make a correction there. And well, this is so basically you have to start with the owned media. This is just one blog. How does the blog look like with all different? You have to these are 5 pieces of the information, 5 pieces of articles. And you see that reading time 7 minutes, 5 minutes. This is how normally a company blog will look like. So it is really effort it is really for you to put an effort to create this kind of impression that this site, it really is full of information, it's full of interesting information, and it's all the time new information coming in. And so you have to understand that this is a constant work to do that, to do a company blog. This is from our unicorn, first unicorn company, Printful. This is their blog. Then the next thing to consider is shared media, and it is all those social media channels that you think of. You have to understand the rules that you have. This is what I mentioned with the different content. You have to understand that what works where, what information you should create for it to work. And every social media has its own audience. For example, if we talk about TikTok, let's say, there is there are people that are young in the age, and they are the most part of this social media. So does your product really talks with them? And if your product is luxury watch that is aimed at people 40 plus, then it could not be the right channel, even if it is really hype out there and everybody's using TikTok. Of course, you can jump into this hype, but again, you have to understand what are the what are the rules of the game, and what content does work there. And again, who's going to do this content, and who's going to do this content regularly. And this is just to show you what really means to create the content. It is text, it is picture, it is people that you are using into those pictures. They are like models, or they are your friends. You have to have designer who designs all this, who puts together logo with product pictures. And then you have to, if we talk about this picture on the right, it really illustrates that you have to like really keep up to date in a sense of what's new with the social media, because in Facebook only some time ago this option appeared that we can use it also in Latvia, that we can add those points to particular products. So to use this everything, you must be up to date and to be and one more thing. These social media really like that you are using newest features they have. For example, stories, or probably you remember when Facebook started live videos. They want to promote this feature, so they are like really putting effort in promoting these features themselves. So it will create, you will get additional attention from the users, because algorithm will literally help you. And this is why it is important to know what is going on, what are the trends, what are the new options to use, and to really to get on this trend and use them, and to get maximum attention. So, and about earned media, as I already mentioned, it is not a marathon. It is a marathon, and it is not a sprint. And if we talk about relations with media, we can have at least one more hour of discussion there. It is, to be very brief about it, the first thing that usually comes into mind is press release. But press release nowadays is, I would not say outdated form. It is just a form that should be really newsworthy, and you have to have really big news for this press release to be interesting. Then you have to understand what each media have. What can you offer them? For example, can you offer them opinion article that will bring attention to you, your company, your product? And what is interesting for the media from your industry, for example? What angles can you give them? And it is all about work with journalists. For example, if you define that, I don't know, I'm offering a product that it is kind of platform that has vacancies on it, and people can, there are novel ways how to find jobs, then you should really pay attention to those journalists that are writing or reporting about career. So you can have a list of them. You can then just approach them from time to time, inform what's new with your company. And then after a year, or I don't know, year and a half, or even 2 years, you will get the attention. Of course, if you have some big news stories, then of course you might get attention sooner. But still, there are a lot of cases, and I'm working with several companies that basically takes 2 years to really get this visibility in the media, and the state the journalists already calls you and you are not calling journalists. So yeah, basically this is where we all want to be. But for example, EU startups, it's a good platform to as you see, all those startups are there and they have somehow got there, but they have very big news stories to share that this media outlet is interested, and yeah, it takes a bit of an effort to get there. And yeah, well, paid media, it is kind of, well, the simplest part, but when you have no budget, then it is not so simple. You cannot buy anything. Paying journalists is not a good idea. For example, you cannot buy anything in the world. And yeah, this is what we already discussed, and this is what there was in the chat. Graciela wrote about this, that you have to like really serve those clients. You have to, so what's next? You will buy their attention, and what's next? What will happen? And yeah, that's about it. I have prepared some list of interesting articles for you to read on how to get to media. What are the biggest fails of contacting PR, well, journalists, and then yeah, some more interesting stuff, so you can read what interests you. So yep, I'm ready to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Ieva, so much. Do we have any questions? Maybe someone wants to share their story about how their communication has been, or any successes, or maybe challenges they have faced. You can also write it in the chat.
Either everything is clear or nothing is clear. Do you have specific tips on what types of communication is most effective in the Latvian market? Well, it depends on the industry you are working in, and also on the product. It is essential to know that, because without that, it is not possible to give specific tips. It should be, well, basically every product and every company should have an appropriate approach, and we have to look up at them. For example, if you are talking to younger audience and you are selling some cool t-shirts for youngsters, then you have to use those media outlets that they are using the most. So there are no such general tips. But if you, Mara, if you could give some a bit of description, what you think, what is, for example, what is the product, what's the audience, then I can give you some tips.
Mara, maybe you can share your story. Or in the chat.
Well, what I probably can add to that is that, well, sometimes people think that, well, then mass media is dead. Who is reading newspapers? Who is watching TV? For example, if I'm not using if I'm not watching TV, I don't know anyone who does. Why do I have to be there? But actually, for every medium, there is a specific audience. And if we talk, I just mentioned this TV example. There are still a lot of big companies that want to get in the TV, and they are using this ads in TV because it is really a mass medium. It can really reach masses. So, of course, yeah, newspapers, magazines, but it's again, well, who reads printed press, right? But it's again, there is user for every of those media outlets, and then yeah, just have to find appropriate product and stick to this audience that this medium has. I guess I was asking more about the types of communication that are different in Latvia, since many of us are not from here. The types of communication for foreigners. Oh, okay, I guess I was asking more about the types of communication that are different in Latvia, since many of us are not from here. Well, we had this hype of Draugiem LV, you know, this first social media that was before Facebook, and that was a long time the #1 social media that we used to have. But I could not think of anything that is super different in Latvia comparing to other countries. I would say that it is just really about the message you want to get across and the audience. This is the most important thing. For foreigners, those are doing business in Latvia, we have some advantages and disadvantages to you. What stories or angles may appeal media journalists and Latvian people? Yes, for foreigners, it is, there are some advantages and disadvantages. For example, there is, one local newspaper, also online site, that is not covering, if the company doesn't have a representative who is a speaker from Latvia, then they do not write about them, because they write only about local people. But there are really a lot of good angles that I actually suggest to pay attention on how Printful communicates. And one big, this is the Latvian unicorn company just announced, because they have a lot of people from other countries working in. And the one angle you can get media interest in is that those, we have employees from other countries, and they are choosing Latvia as their destination and as a place of work, and they are working for Latvian company. And why they are doing that? Also, as Latvia puts a lot of effort in communicating that we are open to foreigners, come to here and start your business here. It is also a very good way how to start communicating with the media. Hey, we are a company from, I don't know, Netherlands, but we have chosen Latvia as a green and friendly and business convenient environment, and we can we can share our story, and we have Latvians working with us, and it really works good with local media. They like this story if we are talking about foreigners doing business here specifically. We made conclusion that in Latvia, oh, hi Armin, by the way. We made conclusion that in Latvia, people and institutions do not reply email if they do not answer, if they do not know that. It's hard to say about people and institution. in case of private communication and private institutions, then it might be so, I don't know, but if we talk about governmental institutions, then they should reply, and it is written in the law that they should reply. And if they are not replying, then you can go to the higher organization that is above them and say that, hey guys, they are not answering, but they have to answer. If we talk about media, then it is another story. Yes, it is really hard to get an answer from the journalists. And there are several reasons of that. One reason is that they are getting very, very many emails with press releases, with pitches, with everything, and they are physically not able to answer all those inquiries. If they are not super interested, if they will be interested, they will answer you. What you can do is just remind of yourself, and let's say in a week, in afterwards in 2 weeks, and it is even not only about media, it's about everyone. If you get no answer, then just ping them again, and sometimes if they will be interested, they will answer. And there are a lot of reasons why they do not answer, and it is really this they are getting super many emails every day, and your email just got lost or whatever, and it is good that you can remind of yourself. So it's totally fine in Latvia that you do that, but don't do that in a way that you are like, okay, he's not answering, I'm writing every second day, hey, did you get my message? Hey, did you get my message? Hey, did you get my message? Well, it could be annoying, because if the person will find this information interesting, he will answer you, I don't know, after the third message. That is already, yeah. If you do not get the answer from the third message, then you should look for another way how to reach those guys. But it doesn't refer to governmental institutions that have to answer you. Any more questions, comments?
Do we have any other questions?
Okay, anyway, you can reach me via email, you can reach me on LinkedIn. These are two channels that I'm using the most, so don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions.
Okay, guys, well, if we do not have any more questions, something popped in the chat.
Well, you have, can you share some supporting institutions, organizations that support small, medium enterprises, especially communication and PR sided? Well, the one thing is that in terms of financial support, there are some programs and grants and something that could cover those costs regarding communication and PR. But then you should look for them, I don't know, for example, Latvian Investment and Development Agency, they are giving support for participation in events in other countries. It is more like a marketing, but still. But when you want to if you by support you mean partner, then you have to look for some agencies or freelancers that are working in the particular country. And also if you are on the beginning of your journey, I mean, if you are just starting to communicate and starting to do PR, then you can always have some students helping you, for example. But what is important is that you really get I suggest you to look for companies or partners that are located in the particular country, and they know media outlets, and they know how to approach them. and they know personally know journalists, and it will make your life a lot of easier. And one more thing is language. Of course, we are a very small country, but this Google Translate press releases is just a nightmare. And I do not suggest to use that, because it's just you can ruin your reputation with this one. It is really one thing to consider, that you have to look for local people that can help you with the messages, with the language, and yeah, this is really important issue. And when you are choosing the partner, you can always ask what are the companies this partner has worked. You can show some previous work, some acknowledgements, even some suggestions from their existing partners. And yeah, it's so important. If you consider, if you are technology, for example, technological company, then it is good to have a partner that has experience with these technological products. And as I mentioned, that it is important that the company can explain difficult things in simple terms. So this is important for the local communication. So you should pay attention to what's the previous experience of those guys you are planning to work with. I hope that I answered your question.
And Ieva, if I may, I'll use the chance to repeat here that next Tuesday we have an extra session with Leah, the Latvian Development and Investment Agency. And then they will share all the projects and support that you can receive here in Latvia, all the different business incubators, and not only that, like the broader sense of what Leah offers, also meaning different the support, and also like grants that are available in Latvia. So if you are interested in that, please do join us on Tuesday. And I hope that that will give you like a more kind of clearer vision, and maybe more access to the information to what is available for you here in Latvia to start your business. If we don't have any more questions, then I will say a big thank you to Ieva. Thank you to everyone else who joined us today as well. And if you have more questions, as Ieva said, you may contact her on LinkedIn and on sending her an email. You can also send me an email. We have had some very good consultations with those who are participating here. So don't hesitate, ask all those questions. I will stay until the very end again if you have a question that you'd like to ask me regarding the project. And Vladimir is asking about the gift. The gift is this special session with Leah. This is like a very, they're like coming to join us instead of us going to them. And I think that's a very, very cool opportunity, because not everyone receives that so personalized. So Ieva, thank you so much. One more time.
Thank you guys. Thank you for good words also in the chat. So I really hope that it was useful.
Yes, very, very much. So I'll stop my recording here. And if you have any questions, then I'll stay here until the end.